So, if you are interested in gardening and permaculture and environmentally friendly practices, but you're unsure how to proceed, you want to learn more about it before you do anything, and you're out there looking for the right way to do things. And if you've read what I've written or watched my videos, you know that I'm pretty skeptical about the right way um, and pre-planning everything and trying to be in control of what's going to happen. So I just thought I would talk a little bit about why my property looks the way it does. In large part, it looks the way it does because of things that I could find for free, or things I found lying around, or things that nobody else wanted. And of course, one of the obvious items is wood chips. For years, I was able to get practically unlimited wood chips, and they are incredibly useful. It's been more difficult to get them the last few years. I think more people are catching on, so that's a good thing and a bad thing because more people are taking advantage of them, but now it's harder for me to get them. So when I can get them, I use them in my paths, occasionally in my beds, but mainly a layer of cardboard and then a layer of wood chips to suppress weeds in the paths. Some other things that I have found around here or at my parents' house that are just kind of not being used. Bricks, great little border there. These are just salvage bricks. There's a kind of a raised bed planter that I made. It's not mortared. It's not going to last forever, but it was a good way to make a quick bed that's good for plants that need good drainage. Also, we don't have very many rocks here, but I have collected rocks over the years. They make a nice border for a bed. Old fence posts that are really too short to be used for that purpose. So these aren't necessarily the best things to use. I don't know what the best thing to use is, but these are cheap, easy, often free. Um, there's some scrap lumber that I used for that bed, and some more bricks over there. Another thing that I have a lot of, it tends to be waste hay. I have horses, so I buy in a lot of hay, and sometimes they just don't like it. Sometimes it looks great. I'm really happy with my purchase, and they say, no, there's something wrong with it. They don't like it. Perfectly good thing to use in the garden. I've been using lots of hay. The pastures are great right now, and I have some hay that's getting rather old sitting in the barn, and the horses will have nothing to do with it because they have this great green grass out there in the pastures, so they don't want to have anything to do with this hay. So I decided to make my life easier and use it in the garden beds. Wonderful weed suppressant. I just let it sit out for months, get wet. You can put human urine on it to help it along, and it just kind of composts in place, which means it gets hot inside and kills most of the seeds or causes them to germinate before you actually take apart the bale to use it. So once it gets to the point where you use it, it's pretty weed seed free. So you can see right here, it just kind of, it had composted in place. It's really pretty far along. And if you do get weeds coming out, as long as you've put it on thick enough, then it's pretty easy to pull them. because they're not really rooted in the soil yet. They're just coming out of the hay itself. I just yank them out. And some other things that have just presented themselves in my garden that I take advantage of. One of them is clover. I have never planted any clover. It just grows here, and many places in the United States it will just volunteer. So I just let it. Occasionally I bring out the shears and trim it down a little bit, but it makes a wonderful cover in the paths, suppresses other weeds, and it's super soft to walk on. And, well, there's a good example right there. My peas got blown off their support. Well, I had some boards laying around, so I just leaned them up there for a few days to give the peas a chance to grab back on again, because I really want them to climb up that support. So the point of all this is, rather than looking for the best thing or the right way to do things, just a huge part of permaculture is using things that are not valued by others, using things that just happen to come your way. They present themselves to you. They're free. They don't really require a lot of effort or a lot of money. And that's how you end up with something like this.